everyone, and welcome back to Society Chat. This is episode 7, and today we'll be talking about design software that will improve your interior design game. So without any delay, let's get started. So joining us today are 3 incredibly talented women in interior design. We'll start with Francesca, then Graziana, and then Kelly with introductions. Francesca?
Thank you, Dil. Hi, everyone. I'm Francesca. I'm from Rome. I study industrial design, and after I always loved interior design, and I chose to start a course with the British Academy of Interior Design. Actually, I'm on assignment number 5. But I'm looking forward to finish this course. I'm doing a HND course. In this period, I started also to study 3D Studio Max software, and recently I got the official certification.
Well done, thank you. And Graziana?
Hi, my name is Graziana Kowalewska, and I'm a face behind Grazia Great Interior Design. I've started with Bade Academy on the interior design course, and I love CAD software and 3D rendering.
Thank you, Graziana. And last but certainly not least, Kelly.
Hey! Hi everyone, my name is Kelly. I'm from China and currently live in Galway. And I'm self-employed, and I run an interior design studio. If anyone is interested, you can log on to my website www.kellyinteriordesign.ie.
Ooh, nice plug. Thank you, ladies. Thank you for joining this discussion. So I know that despite you all being students and also practicing somewhat, you are also experienced with using design software tools. And so I was keen to pick your brain to address some of the critical questions that anyone in the interior design field would be looking to get answers on when starting out with software. So to kickstart this discussion, what I would like to do is to first and foremost address the key differences between 2D, 3D modeling software versus 3D visualization software tools, because I am by no means an expert. I mean, I've just literally completed a software course with the National Design Academy, and I think it'd be really important to start with the foundation and understanding the differences between 2D, 3D modeling versus 3D visualization tools. So I'll throw that out to you all, if anyone would like to jump in first.
Yeah, so we have different CAD software that they can use to create interior design drawings. So we can start with 2D software, which is mainly used for technical drawings, so detailed drawings, elevations, where we can draw dimensions, and it's very technical. It basically, we can use, like AutoCAD, let's say, we can use 3D modeling within the AutoCAD, but it's not really recommended because it's very hard to use, and it doesn't really give that high-end photorealistic rendering that you can get with different software. And also, we also have 3D modeling software like SketchUp or 3D Max, that we can create 3D models and actually later on either upload it to photorealistic rendering software, or we can basically download a plugin to the 3D software that changes the view of the model and creates that photorealistic look.
Excellent. Would you all agree with Graziana? I imagine if there's anything else that you'd like to add to that.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's better for me use AutoCAD for realize 2D models, and after upload my file, my DVG file on SketchUp or on 3D and start to make 3D models. If you want, at the end, you can export your render on Photoshop, and you can add some effect if you want to make and create a unique render.
Excellent. So we'll get into this in more detail, because the next question that I have is specifically your top three platforms or top 3 tools that you've used personally to do your designs and models, and how that's worked for you, and what were the sort of the key takeaways from those tools that you've used that you can share with our viewers today. So we'll start with Graciana.
Yeah, so I always use AutoCAD for technical drawings to start my floor plan. You could do that in SketchUp, but it's just so much easier for me in AutoCAD. Once I have my floor plan, I upload it to SketchUp. I use SketchUp mainly because it's very user-friendly, it's very intuitive, it's easy to learn, and it's got a very big 3D warehouse library of models that you can basically just upload to your drawings. So I use SketchUp for those reasons. I'm currently studying 3D Max, but it's more complex. And I think for a beginner, I would definitely recommend SketchUp. And first, if it comes to photorealistic rendering, I started with Twilight mainly because it's super easy to use and it's cheap. Well, cheap, it's free. So that was one of the only, compared to the quality it offers, it was the best basically option for me, because I didn't know if I'm gonna like it. I didn't know if I'm gonna be good at it. So I thought, why not just start with something that's free instead of paying for it and realizing, you know what, it's actually not for me. So I love Twilight for those reasons. Twilight also offers, it's got a very big forum where you can upload your images, and then experts in that field, they will advise you how you can improve your image, which is great. As for a beginner, to have basically like a free tutor is amazing.
Yeah.
So at the moment I use basically SketchUp and Twilight and AutoCAD. I am learning to do 3ds Max and Corona as a photorealistic renderer, because I think Corona is just amazing. I'm just overwhelmed. When I see just images from 3ds Max and Corona, I'm just amazed. So that's what I'm aiming for. That's what I want to be. Maybe in a few years' time, be an expert in those this software. But if you're a beginner and you want to try it, I would probably recommend SketchUp and Twilight.
Shall we share some of the work that you've done?
Yeah, sure. Please share it. Yeah.
Okay. Sharing that now.
Yeah. So the first image would be a technical drawing, which is AutoCAD. The second image would be SketchUp alone, which is 3D modeling software. And then the last image would be photorealistic rendering using Twilight.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you, Graciana. Thank you for sharing that. Kelly, how about you?
For me, the top 3 software platforms, I use SketchUp for 3D modeling, and use Inkscape for rendering, and I use Premiere for the video editing, so I can output animation to show around.
Okay, so can we share something that you've created?
Yeah.
Sharing that now. Wow, thank you so much, Kelly. That was amazing. All right, so Francesca, how about you?
For me, the first one is the 3D Studio Max, because with this software, you can do everything you want. If you are dreaming something with this software, you can create, can have a tools like you can make a snow, rain, atmosphere effects. You have a garage door, window, stairs. So you just insert your measures, and you will have in 1 second your stairs. This is amazing, but the only problem is if you have a lot of tools, means that you need to study a lot. So it's not an easy software. For learn how to use it, you need a course, at least. But you can create an animation, and you can have your own era. So you have to change all of the settings of the camera, like is a real reflex. You can also create animation and change every single frame, so it is not casual like on SketchUp. My second tools will be or Corona software. Thanks to this software, you can create a realistic render. In fact, you can create your own material. You can just download the material that you want from Google, and you can add this material over your drawing. You can change all of the settings, and of course also the software are not easy, but the results are really good. The last but not the least is SketchUp, because it's so easy. But even if it's so easy, for me it was difficult in the beginning, because for example, for make a sphere, for me was impossible to make a sphere, because on SketchUp you don't have the button of wrote sphere, so you have to create the sphere thanks to the line. And every software have a different every software work in a different way, so the main is to understand how the software is working. Yeah, after that you understand how it's working, the software, you can create everything, and the design process will be easier.
Cool. And do you want to share some of the work that you've created?
Okay, so this is what I create with 3D Max, and the second picture is what I create with SketchUp.
Amazing. Thank you. That looks great. Fantastic, ladies. This is so inspiring, because it just goes to show how far you can take your creativity when you have the right tools. But one of the things that I really want to address, and I know that everyone watching, especially those who've not started using softwares yet, is probably thinking, wow, I really want to get to that stage where I can produce such amazing work. But feeling that anxiety about, okay, now that I know what the key tools are to use, how should I manage my expectations going forward? Like, what should I be mentally prepared for when starting out with the software? So we know that SketchUp, for example, is a really simple, user-friendly tool to use, but some of the others not so much. So my question to you all is, what would be your tips for managing expectations when getting started with the tools, having yourselves gone through, trial and error with using certain tools? What advice would you offer our viewers today? I'll throw that out, whoever would like to jump in.
I would say, don't stress. It's not necessary. Well, it's great to know those tools and this software, but not every person is very technical, and it can be a nightmare. So if it's not for you, and you've tried and it's not for you, and you're planning to open your own interior design studio, you can always outsource it. And most of all the interior designers do that, because you're not going to do basically 3D drawings for every single project you're making, because they can be time consuming sometimes. And if you just design in one room and the client have the ability to visualize the space without the drawings, they're not necessary, because they have to pay extra for it. They have to pay extra for your time. So a lot of times, if your client can't visualize the space, you can offer to them, listen, I can actually outsource them. I can provide you with those drawings, but this is going to cost you this much. And you just pay someone to do them for you. So it's not that, you don't have to learn it. So I don't want anyone to think that it's something you need to know. It's great if you if you're applying to different interior design studios, because I think it's just industry standard now to know basic AutoCAD and maybe SketchUp or software. But if you plan it on your own business, then I wouldn't put that much pressure on software.
Excellent, thank you. That's a really good piece of advice. So no, don't put yourself under undue pressure. Kelly, how about you? What advice can you offer?
I totally agree with Graciana. Yeah, because it depends on what you're going to do. If you want to be a freelancer, you better know about this 3D software, because if you outsource it at the beginning, it costs a lot of money. But if you know by yourself, when you show your client about your work, it's easier. It depends.
Yeah, it depends from situation to situation.
Yeah.
But in terms of managing your expectations with, your approach to the software, I think what I specifically want to understand and what I want our viewers to understand is that obviously not every tool is the same. So in terms of the time that you need to invest, or the financial, on the financial side of things, what you need to invest in these tools, what can they expect going forward with SketchUp versus going forward with something like 3D Max? I'll pass that to Francesca, since Francesca, you've just done 3D Max.
Of course, using SketchUp is much easier than 3D Studio Max, and it's also cheaper. But in this moment, I'm using 3D Studio Max just because I'm using a student version. But once you will have your studio, of course, you have to think about the money that you spend and the time that you are spending over a project. But it depends also what you want to realize. It's like I would like to realize a really good render, so I want to push myself and try to study at least how to manage to realize this amazing rendering, but of course every person is different. Some people found so easily to use 3D Studio Max instead of SketchUp, for example. So it depends also if you practice with one software a lot, you will be able and you will feel comfortable using that software, no?
I just want to mention that if you're a student, you should take advantage of being a student and maybe, well, I basically downloaded everything that I could as a student. So I've downloaded all the free version, but I also got like maybe SketchUp Pro, which is very, very affordable as a student. Then you can get Photoshop, you can 3ds Max, and AutoCAD is free. Corona renderer is, I think I paid £25 for a year, which is nothing. Yeah, so you just take advantage of the student's card and just explore different software.
Yeah, that's an excellent tip. Thank you, Graciana, because I think it's so important that sometimes we might put certain things off because we're not ready for it. But actually, the financial savings that you'll make by downloading the software as a student and practicing and playing around with it, even if it's, spending a little time on each one of these tools every month, that will make a difference in the long run. But Kelly, I wanted to ask you, tying in with managing expectations, because I had seen the amazing animation that you'd done with Enscape, and I wanted to know, how long did that take you to learn, roughly?
It took me about a month.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was like a month of dedicated learning, or?
A month. It's like every day, like an hour. Okay,
cool.
Yeah.
That's great. No, because I think that it's important to be realistic about how much time. I mean, every tool, for that matter, takes time.
I learned it by myself on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
So you can find everything on YouTube.
Yeah, so you don't have to necessarily invest in learning through an academy or a specific tutor or course, for that matter. There's a lot of education and educational material on YouTube. I know it's SketchUp there is.
That's great. SketchUp has they have an official YouTube account. You can just go there and learn.
And any other last tips or tricks or hacks or nuggets of advice that you can offer our viewers with regards to software, anything that pops to mind?
I would just say that take it slow and maybe learn the basics. It's very useful to know any shortcuts for using, for changing commands. It's very useful if it's very efficient. And I think once you take the time and you know the basics, then you can explore a little bit further. And when you do photorealistic rendering, maybe focus first on light focus environment. And this basically, step by step, you create the full image that you can basically render and looks amazing. But don't put pressure that you have to on yourself, that you have to do everything at once. You can do it every step by step, and there's such a amazing like library of tutorials on YouTube, and you can ask different professionals in different forums for advice. And it's nowadays you don't really need professional course to learn something. It's very easy to learn from YouTube. You just need the willingness and the motivation to actually go on there.
And, I have to agree with you on that, but I'll be honest and say that I personally, just because I have quite an intense work schedule myself, I said to myself, if I really want to get the software down, I'm probably best off just doing an intense course. So for that reason, I signed up with the National Design Academy in Dubai and did the software course, and it was really well structured. And just to mention that this episode is not sponsored by the National Design Academy. I am just mentioning based on my personal experience that I loved the way it was structured. They start off with AutoCAD, so it's really foundational, and then they move on to SketchUp and how to import your floor plan into SketchUp and build your model around that. And then there's a workshop on Photoshop and how to render with Photoshop. So all in all, it was really intense, but really worthwhile. And simply that was my choice, because I chose to invest the money instead of the time, because I wanted to do it as quickly as possible. But in all fairness, you don't need to invest a lot of money. As we've mentioned, there's so much out there, especially on YouTube, lots of tutorials available for you to tap into, and take it one step at a time. As we've mentioned, no pressure. It's good to have skills on all of the types of software that you can use, but the most important is your AutoCAD and SketchUp, I would say, at the very least. I don't know.
And also if you're not sure if that software is for you, you can just research on just put in Google the different rendering software or different 3D modeling software, and just research which one fits you but the best and which one is the most appealing to you. Because so before I chose Twilight, I've researched a variety of different software, and I chose the one that was most appealing to me, and basically I put a lot of thought to choose the right one for me. So before you choose a software, I think I advise just to go on Google and basically see which one do you like the look of, and are you willing to pay that much for it? The ease of use, the integration is very important as well, because not every software integrates with SketchUp, not every software can be integrated with AutoCAD. So the integration is quite important as well. So just research all those things, and then you can decide which software suits you best.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you. Thank you, ladies. I think this was a very useful conversation. I'm sure everyone's learned or taken away something from this chat today, and I hope that it's been useful. I certainly know that it's been valuable for me, and there's definitely going to be tools that I'm going to be looking into, 3D Max, Enscape perhaps. We'll see, we'll get there one step at a time, but you've really inspired me today, so thank you so much. But before we go, I'd like to ask the very last quickfire question, and that is the best piece of advice that you've ever received. It doesn't have to be specifically related to interior design. It could be life advice, anything of that sort. So I'm going to throw it out, and anyone who'd like to jump in.
my advice, one advice that I receive is to be tidy, to realize a clean drawing. Don't make a mess, because I usually make a mess in my drawing. So just be tidy, use layer, use group and components when you are drawing, and just enjoy the process.
Thank you. So that was related to interior design. So using layers, being tidy, being neat, tidy with regards to layering and components. Excellent. Thank you.
I say just don't rush. Everything will pay off later.
That's excellent. I love that. Graciana?
So I have two. One is growth is only uncomfortable because you've never been here before. And I think to grow as a person and in your professional life, you need to put yourself out there, and you need to fail and learn from it and fail again and probably another 10 times before you're actually going to do it correctly. And don't be afraid actually to sometimes even look silly or not professional, or just, you need this to grow as a person. And also the second one is, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
100%. I 100% agree with that.
Yeah. So you need to surround yourself with people that inspire you, motivate you, that you can learn something from them. I've learned that a few years back that a lot of people that I was surrounding myself with didn't bring anything to my life, just drama and just problems. And I think it's important to surround yourself with positive people that inspire you to actually move forward and grow as a person.
100%. I think those are all really valuable takeaways, both in the interior design field and in life in general. The one that I always turn to at all times is that nothing is beyond review and improvement. Even if you're at the top of your game in life or work or career, nothing is beyond review and improvement, and you can always improve. So be humble. It doesn't mean that you should sort of not be confident. You can be confident, but you can also be humble at the same time. And I think that that's really critical to the growth process. So thank you, ladies, for joining me for this really interesting discussion today. It's been really valuable for myself personally, and I'm sure for many others. I appreciate you sharing your work with us and your tips, and I hope that someone's learned something new today. Leave us your feedback in the comment box below, and details for the next episode after this. Thank you so much, and have a lovely day.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.